Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andriy Shevchenko. On behalf of Medіацентру Ukraine, I would like to welcome all the journalists covering our fight for freedom. These days, the world has been following the outcomes of the midterm elections in the United States of America. These are midterms, mid the presidential term, and about a third members of Senate were elected. The lower chamber of Congress was re-elected, and the governors in two-thirds of the states were also standing for elections. Those following elections in America were many, but also Yevheniya Kravchuk, a Ukrainian member of parliament, who is now joining us from Washington. So what are your impressions from the recent midterms? Good morning, it's morning here. I would like to say that democracy has prevailed historically. Often the ball is passed between the two parties. I wouldn't say that there was a giant red wave that Trump predicted had materialized. This is admitted by both the Democrats and Republicans. The Democrats seem to be quite pleased with their performance. The Senate control will be defined in December, but the Democrats have won a number of important races like Pennsylvania, where the current incumbent president and Obama and Trump all came to campaign for their candidates, and the Democratic candidate has prevailed. It's still premature to discuss the final results. There's still a vote counting in progress. So Senate will be defined during the second term when the Georgia candidate is elected, because no candidate passed the 30% threshold for outright victory. As for House of Representatives, the trend is that the Democrats will likely lose some seats, but this advantage of the Republicans will not be too material, and both parties will seek compromises in order to make important laws, to enact a budget. The most important thing for Ukraine is to maintain the bipartisan support we enjoy, and I'm sure we will be able to do so, as we have many good and steadfast friends of Ukraine in both parties who know why Ukraine victory matters for the United States of America and for the world. I will read out the results I'm seeing in the American media. Following the results, 48% seats will be won by the Democrats and 48 by the Republicans. So the Democrats need two more, and 191 for Democrats, 2009 for Republicans. And Yevheniya talked us of the Republicans prevailing. Traditionally, Ukraine has taken a neutral stance following the American elections, saying that the bipartisan support is important for us, and this is our core principle. During these elections, we were a bit unnerved by the electoral campaign for a reason. Among the Republicans, a group seemed to coalesce of the noisy and influential candidates who during the campaign discussed the need to cut down the support for Ukraine. As we see now, a large number of those candidates haven't passed into Congress. So what are the prospects for the future support of Ukraine? What is your impression? I am certain that the support of the United States of America will continue to go strong. Some numbers or some particular grades of weaponry will be debated, but the United States will continue to stand with Ukraine. You have put it rightly, the majority of the outlier candidates have either not passed, well, some have passed, some have been re-elected, as the congresswoman in Ukraine from Georgia, but we can't say that they will have an advantage in numbers, or they will have a sway on the party position, as there are over 200 Congress people in the lower chamber nominated by a party. So we shouldn't jump at conclusions only because of one or two or several votes. Ukraine is open to the possibility of having to explain and argue how we are putting the financial support provided by the United States to use, as the United States are one of the biggest donors to the Ukrainian budget. They are giving us direct financial support. Next year, we have a deficit of $38 billion. We are seeing that the European Commission has made the decision, which needs to be voted in, about the support of 18 billion euro, and apparently the remainder will need to be borrowed from the IMF, where the United States play a key role, and we will need to ask for the financial support of the United States. And the key consideration is the support with the defensive equipment. And if we talk about the Republicans, they have always been anti-Russia, anti-Soviet Union before that, and I'm certain that the arguments that they will receive can go about in ramping up the military support, as it about jobs, as much military equipment is produced in the United States, so this is refueling the American economy, and this is the modern equipment that are put into excellent use in Ukraine. Shall we talk about the persons who've been re-elected into Congress? There are some people who have been engaging with Ukraine for a long time. Marcy Kaptur and Victoria Spars has been elected, that Ukraine has had some tensions with. So what people will you be relying on through your parliamentary diplomacy efforts? Will any changes need to happen? Now our task will be to invite the new people who are freshly elected into Congress, who will be sworn in on the 3rd of January 23 to the group of friendship with Ukraine. We would like to broaden the composition of this group of friendship and work even closer with a number of committees. Marcy Kaptur is the co-chair of the group of friendship. She's been re-elected in Ohio, winning over a candidate supported by Trump personally. And Marcy will be the record breaker in the American Congress, as since '83 she has been serving in the House of Representatives, the American people. The other co-chair of the friendship group, Harris from Maryland, Republican Party representative, has also been re-elected. So we will rely on both parties, and this is the key in both chambers, in both parties. Before that, all the allocated fundings, the land lease, all the laws on Ukraine or resolutions approved by Senate and the House of Representatives have all been voted in by the two parties. So I'm certain that is going to stay over the next 2 years. As for the next milestones that are coming up that we need to pass is the extension of the budget resolution, which is due to happen the end of November till mid-December, making sure that funding is allocated for Ukraine, and then we will need to engage to have the budget for the year 2023 that will be passed by the new composition of the Congress. And my last question, going beyond the American policy. During this campaign, it came as a nasty surprise to see the Ukrainian card used for populist aims as an electoral goal. We need to be prepared that in other countries, in the context of the global recession, some immigration challenges, the Ukrainian card might come into play, making our engagement more difficult with the governments of the friendly countries. Are you seeing the factor? How seriously can it affect the support of Ukraine worldwide? We need to flip the card to our advantage. As members of parliament, we can't say it's Ukraine to blame for the economic recession or economic hardships, because the gas prices in the United States and Canada are not hiking because of Ukraine. They are hiking because of the instability fomented by the Russian Federation, by Putin and the Russian leadership. And the sooner we win as a country in this war, as we represent the civilized world, the sooner the civilized world can go back to its normal life, to its normal planning, producing economic growth, etc. But the economy of the developed countries is much stronger. It is much more resilient and has reserves to draw in. So the United States of economy, the economy to do with arms manufacturing, is also an important part of the economy, and it's an opportunity for them to reap that growth. And we need to shape the support coalition for Ukraine, and Europe is coalesced, and it's a fact, and Russia never expected such unity. And the United States will also find it easier to explain to their voters, but the voters are for us. I have talked at the polling station to the Americans, as I used to live a year in the American states back as a school student, and I shared my personal stories with them. They are very much supportive of Ukraine. They would all like to see the end at the end of the tunnel. So the sooner Ukraine wins, the better for everyone around. For Ukraine, of course, but also for our partners. Yevheniya Kravchuk, the Member of Parliament of Ukraine, speaking to us from Washington about the outcomes of the midterm elections in the United States of America and the impact for Ukraine. Thank you, Yevheniya, for talking to us. Thank you. All the best. This concludes the program of briefings at the Media Center of Ukraine. Please follow the announcements.